Good morning, Jeff, on this beautiful President's Day morning. Here is your SB-220, and it's completely blemish free. Completely blemish free. I've been having a lot of fun with this box because I've learned quite a bit. I decided to open my big mouth and say, I want to be the SB-220 repairman of the country. And, well, it's happened. This is like the 5th SB-220 here in just the last 2 months. This SB-220, I have come to the opinion, was hit by lightning. Let's shut that off for a minute so you can see how clean this thing is. How clean that fan is. Look at that. The grill on the back's clean. There's no holes in the body of this box anywhere. But I think this amplifier was hit by lightning. Let me grab a somewhat insulated pointing device. Okay. Let's start at the beginning. This disc capacitor was popped. No physical damage to it whatsoever. This doorknob cap was bad. The blocking bypass cap was bad. And then of course all the diodes. Now, if you look back down in here, it's been upgraded just a smidge. The high volt board can pass more current than this little transformer can provide. But caps are good. That's about the only thing that was good. But this whole board was scattered. All the metering diodes, or all the metering resistors completely popped. Okay, all the knockdown shunt resistors are gone. So there's not a stock part left on this board. And when I got it, this board was jet black. And I mean jet black. We had to scrub it and clean it and scrub it and clean it and scrub it and clean it and scrub it and clean it. Now this still has the Zener in it for the bias circuit. But I rebuilt this, figured out this cap was bad. And then the problems really started because we couldn't get it to build any power. Now, Jeff, as I go through it, as you'll see, it's got the oversized parasitics. It's got the half U hoop in it. This sprag was bad. And like I said, that bypass cap, which is 100% of the reference, the output tune circuit, was shot. And I spent 2 weeks, at least once a day, throwing this thing on the bench going, what's wrong with this thing? Why won't it build power? Because I had high volts, I had bias flop, I had great input tune. If you notice, down here on a band selector, you see this shaft? Well, it goes around to this band switch back up in here. This band switch was indexed 180 degrees out of sync with this band switch, the one in the front. Now I've taken both the band switches out and I let them soak in white vinegar for about a week. And what happens with that is all that black oxidization slowly works its way off. So you get in there with a toothbrush and you just scrub it real light and all that black oxidation just floats off. So these two band switches are all nice and shiny. I'll grab another one that I'm working on over here. Look like this. Shiny, look like new, right? Now you can use other stuff. You can use muriatic acid, you can use all kinds of other etchants, but white vinegar is real mild. It's not aggressive. Now, let me disconnect my high volt probe. That's before we get crazy. No volts. Ground that. Okay. The bottom side of this thing is just equally as clean. I had many people ask me why I just didn't take a shotgun and shoot this amp. Because it's this condition. Look how white that porcelain is. It's not stained or anything. That's not a rebuilt fan, that's a stock fan. Because the rebuilt ones come with plastic wrap, and this has got the black cloth on it still. Now, the other thing I figured out was that one of the chokes, it looks a lot like this choke here, had gone open. So it causes the tube to go in balance. I think the whole thing is hooked together. I think it got hit by lightning. I think it zapped everything out because I had to replace the blocking disc capacitor, the balance disc capacitor, the relative power output capacitor, both of the filament blocking capacitors, stabilization capacitors, and even over here, the 0.01 filtering capacitors on the input for the 110 voltage. Anyhow, that choke was bad. The capacitors I had around it, I said, pull all that garbage off. I grounded the grids, just did the hemispherical grounding, cleaned up the relay contact, rebuilt our keying circuit because this diode was popped from the one tube coming out of balance. Replaced this capacitor. Yup. Let's go around and look at the backside real fast. Backside's just as clean. This is a beautiful amplifier. Beautiful, beautiful amplifier. I've had everything out of the amp deck, had the capacitor bank out, everything out. I am looking for a source for meters because I get the feeling that I'm going to start repairing a bunch of these. I love working on SB-220s. They're the easiest amp in the world. Now the guy that's buying this thing wants it to work from 10 all the way over to 80. Now of course we went in and we redid the tune on the 10 so it works in 11 meters, but it works beautifully on all the other bands now. Beautifully. When the high volt board on this scrambled, it took out this meter. Took it out. And these are rarer than unicorn meat. I'm telling you, man. Rarer than rare. But I'm looking for a source for an exact replicate replacement because I'm doing a lot of restorations of these. So if you out there in the radio world that's watching this knows a place that I can find these meters, no, Harbach does not have them. Call me. I will even pay you for the information. This thing is beautiful. Jeff, give me just a minute and we're going to fire down on this thing. Okay, so we're in the 11 meter mode. We're all tuned out. This is a neat bit. All the paint on this is original. It's pristine. None of it's worn off anywhere. Beautiful amplifier. That's your high, that's your low. We'll start off in low. We're going to take the Galaxy 66 today and run it into the bench 2 pill. And since it's Nostalgia Day, we're going to grab this this slug here that was made by Bird Corp General International, predecessor to Bird. We're going to work over here on PEP and 1X, so everything is in face display. Full deflection is 1,000 watts. Looking at the bottom scale, adding a 0. So this is what we're going to put into it from drive. Audio. About 10-15 watts. And we're going to step on a pedal with it in low. Audio. Basically 2 to 1. We're going to go to the high volt setting, which increases the plate volts. Audio. Not that much of improvement. We're going to kick on a little 2 pill, go back to low mode. And this is what we're going to put into it for drive. Audio. About 200 watts worth of drive. Audio. That's low mode. Turn the multiplier up, still with about 200 watts worth of drive. Audio. About 1100, 1200 watts. We kick on the high mode. Now notice the tubes aren't flaring. Nothing's getting overly hot. No one's getting excited. Sitting here throwing a 400 watt dead key like it's nothing. Look where the milliamp meter's at. It's pulling nothing for current. We're still keyed, man. Audio. Tubes still aren't flaring up. Tubes are still not flaring up. What I mean by flaring up is you'll see the bottom bells will start to heat up. Bink, bink, bink. And a normal rule of thumb is you only want to let the bottom two heat up. That, see, now they're starting to come up a little bit. But look at how long we've been keyed throwing a 400-watt carrier. Audio. Just holding it down. See, I'm starting to discolor a little bit. 1750. See that? Now they're starting to come up in temperature. Now the problem with this is that we're running off a 110 outlet. I really strongly suggest that most people set up a 220 setup for this. There, now they're finally starting to cherry up a little bit. Look at how long I've been keyed. Hello, BBI. Key down time. That's the neat bit with tubes. Now they're really starting to get red. You see how they're starting to build up the bells? Now this isn't hard on the tube. This is just normal operation. Milliamps haven't taken off. We're in a high volt mode. Alright. I'm going to come off the pedal and hang the mic up in the rack. Jeff, it's obviously working as best as it's ever going to work on 110 outlet. You go to 220, you'll see 2,500 watts out of this box. Peak. About 210 watts of drive. Peak drive, of course. It's a beautiful amplifier. It took me a long time to get all the little bugs worked out of this box because I've never seen one where the band selector was 180 degrees out of phase with the front selector. She's beautiful and she's clean. The aluminum's not stained, the fins are perfect, which is a rare find for one of these boxes. Alright Jeff, I'm gonna box her up and send her to you tomorrow. My name is BBI, and without a shadow of a doubt, I am the biggest mud duck in Idaho. Come check us out, www.bbiamps.com. If your SB-220 isn't working and you want it restored and you want it to look like this, send it to me. I will fix you up. I love Z's. I love 3500Zs. And I love these amplifiers. Love them. One more piece of vintage equipment restored back to the operation 10 through 80. See you, boys and girls. Bye.